And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
What's up, RBLR Nation? Welcome to another episode of Buccaneers football. And, not great. Morale is low. And that's just all there is really to it. But you know what? I am excited to be with two of the best co-hosts in all of football coverage. My boy Musab back in the building. Santiago is with me. Musab, we'll start with you. Say what's up to the people for me.
Everything is good. Everything is good, man. I'm mad excited to be back right now. Obviously, we had an interesting weekend for sure. Of course, it's tough, of course, and obviously we'll dig deep later. But it is what it is, though, and more importantly, hey, listen, we still got a few games going on, and there's some things to reflect on. So that's what I'm looking forward to talking about.
For
Santiago,
sure.
What about you, man? What are we thinking?
Yes, sir. Santiago, let's go.
What's up, gentlemen? The two best co-hosts, of course, Carter and Musab, and our producer Eureka is awesome for having this show every single week to the people, to the universe of RBLR Sports and the Buck Nation out there. Yes, we're going through some turbulent waters, gentlemen, at this moment, and let's see if we can see in the horizon a sunshine, if some rainbow there, to go to the end, to go to the glory, and let's still make the playoffs. So it's a Bucs life, it's an RBLR Sports life. Let's do this, baby. Let's go Bucs, baby.
Whew, yeah, it is a Bucs life indeed. However you want to interpret that. So I mean, we're obviously all kind of doom and gloom right now, and kind of rightfully so. It's coming off of a really bad loss to the Cleveland Browns Sunday afternoon, 23-17 in overtime. Just brutal loss. But what's even worse is Tristan Wirfs suffered that injury in OT. Luckily, test came back negative. He'll only be sidelined for a few weeks. But for those few weeks, they're fighting for the division right now. So those few weeks are still going to be valuable. So Josh Wells is going to have to step in and be their right tackle moving forward. So they'll have Donovan Smith and Josh Wells at the ends of the offensive line. I don't know. Are y'all worried about this? How do y'all feel about Josh Wells stepping in? I mean, it seems like at this point the offense can't get any worse. So I mean, fuck it, screw it. Might as well put in Josh Wells. I mean, whatever. But Musab, we'll start with you. How does this Josh Wells thing sound? Tristan Wirfs being out. Luckily, he's not out for the season. But how do you feel with Josh Wells moving forward?
Well, pardon my friend's French listeners. That's exactly kind of how I feel as well. I mean, listen, as odd as it sounds, the first memory I actually have of truly of Josh Wells was actually last year during the playoffs against the Eagles. Tristan Wirfs got banged out. Boom, Josh Wells came in. It just looked a little ugly temporarily. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the impact Tristan Wirfs has on our team. So thinking about something like that, Carter, obviously I'm thinking, okay, this is definitely not something ideal. I don't know. I mean, there's only so much we can do, If a guy's out, we're going to have to make the best out of it. I'm just hoping and, praying that, he picks up on things a little bit better if this is how it's going to be. And I don't know, maybe hopefully at this, when you think about, if I'm one of the Buccaneers players, if you're thinking about circumstances right now, you really got to step it up right now, especially after this ugly loss. But that's all I really got to say. Santiago, I know you got your feelings as well. How do we feel about this whole situation?
It's tough, man. It's really tough. Josh Wells is not really a starter. He's played a total of 91 games in the NFL, 18 starts. So, Tristan Wirfs, man, he's a big boy. You know what I mean? He's started for us for a while. He was a big part. Since he was drafted from the University of Iowa, he's done very well here. So, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't more serious, but it's still an injury. And we have a lot of players that are hurt, and obviously we have players that are stepping up So, I want Josh Wells to do good. I want him to perform and, and see what he can do in the meantime. What do you think, Carter?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to replace an all pro at any position, but especially at right tackle or at either tackle position, just because, with Brady's lack of mobility, it's important to be able to protect him. And the Bucs they just keep losing guys left and right on that offensive line. It seems like, first Jensen, then Steiny, now Tristan Wirfs. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. It's really difficult. Speaking of Brady, kind of another update before we get into the Browns game or the massacre or not the massacre, that's being dramatic, but the awfulness that was the Browns game. There's more awfulness to speak of. There's an Athletic article out there, an article from the Athletic and insiders reporting that Tom Brady back to New England is possible. Initial thoughts. How do we feel about this? How realistic do you think this could be? Just kind of overall reaction to that, kind of a pretty bad timing after this embarrassing loss. Musab, we'll start with you.
You know what, man? I'm just gonna keep it absolutely 100 with you right now. The way when you say it like that, and the more I actually think about it, Carter, being that I'm talking from the city of Boston right now. Obviously, there's a heart lover of there's a huge audience or a huge demographic in Boston who still love Tom. I don't know. I think I don't want to get too deep into it outside of the sports, but I think that obviously the divorce has something to do a little bit with this in when it comes to a possibility. But then again, listen, news is news. I don't think that matters right now. I think the big thing is let's just see what happens. You never know. Listen, if we really, really pick up on things, for the rest of this season, it's up to Tom to kind of decide where he feels. But I don't know. Then again, there's a whole lot of things that, you and I and Santiago don't know, behind the scenes that no one else knows. And we'll see what goes on. But as of right now, I don't really think that's like in the equation. If things do continue to get ugly, as they are right now, oddly, maybe this comes into the equation a little bit more. But as of right now, I'm saying no. No. I'm saying no. Santiago, I know you are a big guy on Tom Brady. I know you love him. And how would you feel? Do you think this is actually a possibility, or do you think this is just a bunch of just random news?
You know what I say, gentlemen? When I see in the news, when I see on the screen of my television a press conference and, a signature on a contract that says, welcome to, let's say, back to New England or whatever like that, for example, then that's the day like, oh, he went back. But at this moment, it's just news. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's birds chirping, you know what I mean? Obviously, he, it's Tom Brady. He's the most famous NFL football player in the history of this game. Yeah, I mean, Deion, like, other players like Deion Sanders and stuff like that, Troy Aikman and stuff, those are well known, but everybody knows Brady, what I mean? 7-time Super Bowl champion. All I really can maybe see him do, like other players have done with their teams, is like sign a contract for one day and then retire for that with that team for, some. But at this moment, I agree with Musab. I think this is just rumors at the moment. That is just not really going to, unless it gets super, super ugly, where they just part ways. But I don't
Right.
see anything really happening.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. It's all just hearsay. It's all just rumors and all that. But yeah, I mean, I think the more dangerous team to watch out for is the 49ers, to be quite honest. I think they're more likely to get them since, hometown advantage plus the 49ers are a very well built roster. But yeah, it's really nothing to worry about currently, but got to talk about it because it is news. It's the Athletic. They're a reputable news source. But moving on from the hearsay, gossipy kind of portion of the show, we'll move on to the actual game, unfortunately. So yeah, it was an ugly, ugly loss in overtime. The Bucs offense continued to look stagnant against a defense that had given up, 27 points per game going into that game. And they only managed 17 in 4.5 quarters. And that's just not acceptable, especially from a team that has as much supposed talent on the offense as the Bucs. So anyways, where to even really begin? I mean, the offense is struggling. It seemed like Brady looked a bit timid. It seemed like he was kind of settling for a lot of dump offs. It seems like his verticality to the game just wasn't there. Would y'all agree with that? Do you think that Brady looks a little timid or a little unwilling to push the ball down the field? Musab, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I definitely do think that things are looking off for sure. I don't think there's actually some huge reason. I just think that everything we're going through so far this season, it definitely throws things off. More importantly, as you mentioned, as of right now, Carter, with the whole kind of coverage situation with Tristan Wirfs, we got Josh Wells coming in now. This is definitely something to think about as well. How much are we really protecting Brady, and more importantly, how much is the chemistry really working? Things are just looking really off. I don't exactly know, and I'm still trying to pinpoint it exactly. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still trying to, but I just feel that like these last few games have just been like kind of little different scenarios here and there. Consistency is the big thing that is just lacking, unfortunately. But I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a very hard problem to pin down. I love that you mentioned the Wirfs injury and the struggles of the offensive line, because Donovan Smith has been one of the worst left tackles in the NFL, rated by PFF, and he's been racking up penalties recently too. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have time to let routes develop, then you're going to have to settle for the dump offs. So yeah, that's a great point. Santiago, how about you? How are you feeling about this? You think Brady looks timid? How do you fix the problem moving forward? How do you feel about it?
Well, gentlemen, I want the problem to be solved soon, because our season is on the line right now. You know what I mean? I want to get to the playoffs, and I want to try and fight for a championship, like everybody does. But he's going. Tom Brady's. I think out of all of his years in the NFL, this has been like the toughest, emotionally, family wise. You know what I mean? Like trying to keep all of that away. I mean, like when he took time off, because everybody's like, why is Tom Brady taking 11 days off, 12 days off? Like, that's very odd. That's not Tom Brady, ish. It's tough, man, because, yeah, he's a celebrity and everything like that, but everybody has maybe like issues and stuff like that. And you work it out and stuff, you know what I mean? But he's a public figure, he's a well-known, and his wife is more well-known, Giselle. I mean, it's just like, and but to be honest with you, gentlemen, Tom Brady, I think he's just trying to focus on his work, and because he's competitive, he's super competitive, and I still believe we're gonna win this division, gentlemen. I still believe so. I mean, even with everything. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. So I see the light, and
For
that's the
sure.
shiny Lombardi. You know what I mean? I really do.
If anyone can see the light, it's you, Santiago, and that's what I love about you, my man. It's a very good trait to have. Not all of us should be, negative Nancy's like myself. But speaking of more negatives, kind of moving on from the Brady aspect of the game, there was the questionable clock management in the fourth quarter. That last drive was just, I mean, leaving 2 timeouts in your pocket. I don't know how to explain it. Todd Bowles tried to explain it away as, oh, we didn't want Brady to throw an interception, which statistically speaking, Brady's one of the least turnover prone quarterbacks in the NFL this season. So I don't really get that explanation. I'm not buying it. So yeah, I just wanted to hear y'all's thoughts. What's up with the clock management? And this is all on the coaching staff. This is all on them because they're the ultimate decision makers, specifically Todd Bowles. So, what's up with the clock management at the end of the game? Did you agree with the decision? Maybe you're less harsh about it than I am, but Musab, we'll start with you. How did you feel about the clock management at the end of the game, pocketing 2 timeouts and, ultimately leading to overtime?
It was a little whack, to be honest. I feel like the execution maybe just wasn't there. I feel like we were all expecting that. I don't know. Maybe I guess, the coaching staff was just thinking, let's do something a little bit bolder. I don't know. I mean, they were trying to push it or something. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. But to be honest, it really threw me off. Looking at the ending, especially we were already up, And I was like, the last couple minutes, I was like, listen, this is it. We're just going to stay solid. We're going to execute. We're not just going to completely just throw it away. Then boom, look at that. Look at what happened. And we couldn't execute at the end. So I have to say, once it hit OT, once the game or once the regulation time was over, it was seriously scary because now it's like, okay, boom, it's a fresh start. This was firing up the Cleveland Browns more than ever. Boom, you just tied it up now with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, who are looking to get hot again after the bye week. This was big for them. I'm sure a lot of Cleveland Brown fans and / anti-Buccaneer fans, anti-Tom Brady fans are quite happy with, especially Jacoby Brissett's performance and just the fact that they won. So this was a stinger for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely bold is a very very generous way of putting it. I would say it was more of a cowardly move, just kind of boldly cowardice, I guess, would be a good way of putting it. Yeah, it's just it's bad. It's bad. If heads haven't rolled at this point, I don't know if there will ever be a firing in the season. Which I guess I get it because you want to give a guy a full year. But anyway, Santiago, how about you? How'd you feel about the clock management at the end of the game? Would you have done something differently? I mean, how do you feel about it?
To me, man, it's you're a man. Todd Bowles is a coach of an NFL team. I mean, this is clock management is taught, you know, and it's just basic knowledge. I mean, it's just basic understanding. Like, it's something basic. You know what I mean? Like when I say basic a bunch of times, it's because they teach it to you. You know, in general, get to work on time, you know what I mean? Do different things, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, come on, man. Like, you have that, use your common sense. It's that simple. And he's getting paid a lot of money as a coach, and yeah, man, it's like and my blood is boiling right now because it's so upsetting that we lost this game because of something simple like
Right.
that. I don't have to say too much. It's just, like
it's frustrating.
it is. It
Yeah,
really is.
absolutely. I'm with you. It's frustrating to see a team that apparently has so much talent just lose a game like this because it was very winnable. It was very winnable. So I mean, the Bucs have fallen to the Browns. They lost to the Steelers and the Panthers, and they've lost in embarrassing fashion in all of those games, really. And then this last game, the coaching staff got exposed really, really poorly. If this ship doesn't get corrected, if the course continues down this path, let's say that the Saints beat the Bucs and then they lose to the 49ers, is there any chance that Bowles gets fired before the end of the season? Musab, we'll start with you. You think that the Bucs, you know, do something bold for once? You think they fire Bowles before the end of the season if things continue to go so poorly?
I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have to see. I mean, I don't think. I'm not trying to be too pessimistic. I really hope that doesn't really happen, Carter. I mean, that's gonna be real scary. But if that's how it's gonna be, then yeah. I mean, the fact that this whole offseason changed with Arians and Bowles and now stepping up to the plate, I feel like that threw a lot of people off. I feel like maybe this was also sort of a bold move as well. But I don't know. I mean, maybe sometimes it just doesn't exactly work out if that's how it's going to turn out to be. I think that we definitely need to start sitting down and actually really start nitpicking exactly who is in the wrong now, week by week, especially with every loss we have. I'm starting to think that, maybe we are not the ideal team that I really thought that we
Right.
were during the off season. As excited as or as pumped as I was during this off season, injuries happen, things happen. It's football, right? So, things haven't really been turning out, the way we expected it to be. It's a little unfortunate, but as of right now, I mean, everyone's kind of on the chopping block. Obviously, there's some who are just, they're doing a phenomenal job, and there's only so much they can do. But we really need to pick up the pace. Things are just looking really, really off, and I don't know. Maybe perhaps this is just not gonna exactly be the year we were expecting it to be. just because of natural things or just things just by performance-wise. But we
Right.
can get more and more into this, as the week goes on or
For
weeks and
sure.
weeks go on.
For
But
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely not a problem that is going to be addressed this week. There's still a lot of football left to be played. So yeah, I'm with you. They're not going to fire him anytime soon. But yeah, it's definitely a question worth posing. Santiago, how about you? Maybe you think that they pull the trigger sooner and fire him a little quicker than maybe me and Musa believe. But what's your thoughts on it? How deep does this hole have to get before they put down the shovel and get rid of Bowles?
To be honest with you, I wouldn't. If he's not doing his job, he's gotta be let go.
For sure.
That's it. You know what I mean? Maybe you're cut. Maybe you're you have maybe you're just good. You're good being a defensive coordinator, and you're still making good money. You
Right.
want to try the head coaching position,
Hmm.
but you're not good at it. Maybe you should try in college to see how you do there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
go to, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like it's tough, but
Mhm.
but it's just like the NFL is a business, and it's just like the business is to win the Super Bowl. And we have the greatest of all time at QB. Tom Brady says, like, hey, you shouldn't sleep at night, even though you're making millions of dollars. You shouldn't sleep at night when you lose. It's just it's yeah. If he doesn't cut it, he should be let go. Even if it's like before the I don't know, before the season's over, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Because, we want to win.
Yeah, if things get bad enough, they gotta do something. So yeah, I'm with you. Um, I guess kind of moving on from the coaching standpoint, is it maybe time to just, I don't want to say give up, but is it time to just accept the Bucks for who they are? I mean, they're in a really poor division. They'll still likely win it, but maybe they're just not meant for greatness. Maybe they're not meant for a Super Bowl run. Santiago, I know you'll disagree with me on this, but Musab, we'll start with you. Is it time to just accept, the Bucks have shown us who they are as a team. Maybe it's just time for the general public and Bucks fans to accept the fact that they're just not very good. Musab, you think that's the case, Musab?
yeah, I think that's the case. I'm not like gonna completely be 100% on it. I mean, I think if things change or whatever, I mean, we can continue to be somewhat hot or whatever. But no, yeah, generally that's the case. This is an opportunity, I guess, for the backups to just take advantage of the opportunity that they're getting this moment to shine. Slash, just overall for every single one of these players, starters or backups, just to rebuild. Um, and not every single team is going to be like continue to be hot. There's
For
only a
sure.
few exceptions in the history of football. It's not like every single year one team or two teams are just running it back and over and over again. So um, we've done solid these last 2 years, extremely solid. And you know, if this is kind of the year where we have to adjust a little bit because of different kind of reasons, then so be it. But that's all I really have to say. We have to stay optimistic and just hope that every single one of these players takes advantage of the opportunities. And I do definitely think that when it comes to players or coaching staff wise, it's important to make the right moves as well. Maybe when it comes off season.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely don't want to give up on a team with Tom Brady at the helm, but like you said, they haven't shown anything to think other than the fact that they're going to be maybe a first round exit, or maybe they'll manage to squeak out a wild card game. That's kind of all they are. But Santiago, Mr. Optimistic, Mr. The glass is half full. What are your thoughts on this? Are you still hopeful that the Bucks are going to make it to the Super Bowl this year?
It's tough, gentlemen. It's really tough. It's more negative. It's, a lot of more people out there in the media, even, what we're talking about right now. It's tough to even see us maybe step foot onto a Super Bowl, prime time, winning a championship, But hey, you know how they say, it's like, I honestly believe that, if we can win the division, we can get to the playoffs. The playoffs are a different beast. To be honest with you, it happens like that. It is. And, I honestly, I hope this coming Monday night, on Monday Night Football, prime time, live from Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida. My home, city right now for the last 20 something years. We are on prime time, ladies and gentlemen. Prime time.
For sure. You're hoping the Knicks can
And
secure a W.
I believe that we're going to win and get back to 500 and be smarter with our time management, be smarter and dominate a team that's playing worse than us this year, because they have injuries as well.
Right. For sure.
And we can not slip and and do the right thing and win out and then play like the Niners and play and keep going. Let's do it. Let's go Bucks. I'm still like raising the flag.
All right. Hey, I'm glad to hear it. At least if one of us in the group is still optimistic, that's always a good sign. But one thing that you can definitely be optimistic about is definitely the RBLR Sports shop. I mean, they got some sick threads on there. Rays, Bucks, Lightning, Rowdies, whatever you're looking for, we got it. And since the Bucks are doing so poorly, we want to give something to be excited about. Give y'all something to be happy about for once. Because being a Bucks fan right now, it's a Bucks life. It's tough, but Santiago, since you're Mr. Optimistic, I'll let you bless him with a promo code. Shout out to Santiago. Give them what they want.
Yes, Carter, I will give them what they want. Is Cannons, CANNONS, 10% off your whole order. Go to shop.rblrsports.com, ladies and gentlemen, and get some fresh merch for you yourself now for the holidays. Stay warm up north. This is worldwide, you know what I'm saying? So let's go, baby. Let's go. Make
Indeed,
that click. Get
worldwide.
yourself something. Get yourself something nice.
Indeed, the holidays are coming up, like you said, and Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305. That's right. Indeed. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Well, after that shameless plug, we'll get into the Saints preview because despite the fact that we would all love for the Bucs to just automatically make the playoffs and win the division, there's still football left to be played and games for the Bucs to potentially lose. But we'll try to be optimistic. The Saints are a really awful football team, like Santiago mentioned a little bit earlier. They're the worst team in football when it comes to turnover differential. They continued that trend with 2 more fumbles against the 49ers, much to the not detriment, whatever the opposite of detriment is, much to the benefit of my fantasy football teams, where I have San Francisco starting in both of them. But they're just an awful team. They have Andy Dalton as their quarterback. They've bounced between him and Jameis Winston all year. The Bucs defeated them in Week 2 in the Superdome when Jameis Winston was playing. So I mean, there's reason to believe that the Bucs will win this game. There's also reason to believe that they won't, because they lost to the Browns, the Panthers, the Steelers. They have shown that they can lose to anybody. But what can the Bucs do differently versus the Saints to prevent that from happening? And Musab, we'll start with you. Does it start on the offensive end? Does it start with the defense? I mean, how are you feeling about it?
It's going to start on both ends for sure. We're going to have to just change things up, keep up the fiery pace from the beginning. Defense is big. Defense has been coming through overall. I don't want to, pick on them more than the offense, of course. But for me, we're also limited as well. That's also something to think about as well. But unfortunately, the offense needs to pick it up. We just have to change it up. We need to start, playing our cards right or something. It almost seems like sometimes, listen, as much as we are trying hard, the execution is just not there sometimes, And I have to say that was the big thing that I saw personally, especially in the overtime. We showed up, but we didn't actually, show up. We didn't execute. We didn't pull it through. That was our game, and the fact that we lost and we weren't able to come through, it was rather extremely unfortunate.
Indeed, rather unfortunate indeed. I mean, like you mentioned, it seems like the effort's there. It's weird. The Bucs are one of the best teams in the NFL as far as passing yards, but they're bottom 6 in points per game. They're the worst team running the football, so it's very odd. It's a hard issue to pinpoint what they can do differently, especially against the Saints, since it's a rivalry game. But Santiago, how about you? You think that the problems, how they fix this, how they try to win against the Saints, is it start on offense, start on defense? How do you feel about it?
To be honest with you, man, it has to start on offense because defense, we already know we got a good defense. We just have to put points on the board. More touchdowns than field goals, but they both add up. So, I mean, yeah, we have to, whoever plays Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston, like, yeah, we have to, we have to sack them. We have to make their job difficult. They have wide receivers like, Marquez Callaway and, Jarvis Landry, you know what I'm saying? Like, and, those are the two starting wide receivers right there, They also have somebody that we know, Tyrann Mathieu, you know what I mean? He's the honey badger, you know what I'm saying? So,
For sure.
and, just those are just to name a few of their, you know, famous players at this moment that are well known, and, we definitely, Mark Ingram is a running back, you know what I mean? Like they
Right.
have Alvin Kamara, you know what I'm saying? Like Alvin Kamara has always been a thorn in our side, It's like, it's like what if we had Alvin Kamara and like, Leonard Fournette on the Bucs? You know what I mean? That would be an awesome duo, you know what I mean? Like two great running backs and stuff, but hey, Alvin Kamara is the same, you know? I'm sorry, but that I would picture him in a Bucs uniform, but he's like I said before, he is a thorn in our side, and we got to stop him.
For
He's
sure.
just so. What do you think, gentlemen? Looking at this lineup for the Saints, like what issues, what do we have to do to stop them?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely going to be a lot harder than the Saints record might suggest. They have some talent on both sides of the ball, and like I said before, it's a rivalry game. And Santiago was listing a lot of really talented players. Tyrann Mathieu, he's a former All Pro safety, and one guy that you didn't mention, but he's having one of the best seasons of an offensive rookie. He's going to probably win off, or he might not, but he's definitely a contender for Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's Chris Olave, their star receiver. They spent a first round pick on him, and rightfully so. So yeah, the Bucs are going to have their hands full for sure going into this game, just because, like we've been saying, the Bucs execution has been lacking severely. So yeah, I mean the Bucs can't really be trusted to beat anyone. So it's tough. But the good news, like I said, the Saints are just as pitiful statistically and record wise. They were shut out last week against the 49ers. It's tough. So kind of what are some key matchups to watch for? I mean, I guess we'll start with Chris Olave versus the secondary of the Bucs. Um, is it Marshawn Lattimore and Bradley Roby? They're returning from injury, so they'll be keeping up with Evans and Godwin. Or maybe it's Cam Jordan against this atrocious Bucs offensive line. They've got Donovan Smith and Josh Wells in there on the edges, so Marcus Davenport and Cam Jordan kind of get to go to town. What are some key matchups to look for, Musab? We'll start with you.
Yeah, I think the big one is actually the offensive line for sure with Cam Jordan and Davenport. That's where I'm looking at right now. I think, listen, we're going to do our best on Chris Olave. Of course, all eyes on him. It's not that it's going to be a surprise that, this young guy is looking kind of, looking real good for sure as a rookie, of course. And, we definitely got to keep my eyes on him. But on the offensive side, we have to protect Brady at all costs. Too much pressure going on, with all these adjustments on the offensive side, whether it be our offensive line, the receivers, tight end, anything, Brady's going through a lot right now. I don't want to say that it's, stop blaming him. It's just everyone else's fault. But this Saints team is going to come at us for sure. They got Marcus Jordan and, Davenport, of course, coming at us. They got a whole team. This is a fiery rival. To hell with the Falcons and Panthers. It's obvious when it comes to our division, Carter and Santiago. It's always been us versus the Saints, and this is it. We're running it back. We're on a little Debbie Downer right now after that kind of stinger loss, and I just hope that this doesn't fire the Saints too much. But I don't know, Carter, Santiago. What do y'all think?
Yeah, it's a great point. Santiago, we'll pass it to you. What are some key matchups to look for in this game?
I agree, man. Cameron Jordan, man, 7-time Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? Like he's been with the Saints since 2011, bro. Like he was drafted by the Saints. You know what I'm saying? Like if he would have been 2 years prior in 2009, he would have won the Super Bowl. But he wasn't drafted back then. So You know, he's a Pro Bowler, man. Like, you know, anytime, like even us, you know, here on the Bucs, we have Pro Bowlers as well. Mike Evans just man went to 10,000 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he set another record. Um, but yeah, I agree with what Musab just said. You know, like we have to try and contain, you know, him, you know, Cameron Jordan. We definitely do. Like I said before, I named a few players out there as well, like, you know, Alvin Kamara. You know, we got to contain him as well. You know, and then obviously contain the quarterbacks. You know, they make mistakes. Yes. How are we going to contain them? Intercepting them. You know, putting them on their back. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? And then also, you know, I want us to score points, man. Please, Buck Nation, please. When we're in the red zone, let's score points. Let's score touchdowns. You know, it's been frustrating this whole year. The word frustrating is like I'm seeing it way too much, you know? And we just cannot, and we're playing at home. So we have home field advantage. Stadium's gonna be rocking, and it's prime time, man.
For sure.
I love Monday Night Football.
Indeed, Monday Night Football is always a good time. But I do remember the Super Bowl run. I mean, the Bucs played the Saints at home, and they lost 35-3. They broke the record for the least amount of rushing attempts ever attempted in a game. And last year, you know, they had that weird game where Taysom Hill started. The Bucs have struggled against the Saints in the Tom Brady era in the regular season. You know, they just got their first win, and they still haven't won at home against the Saints. So this is definitely not a gimme game. It's not just an easy coast game. So I guess, you know, we've kind of talked it to death. What do y'all think is going to happen? What are some score predictions? Musab, we'll start with you. You think the Bucs pull this out? You think the Saints sneak out a road victory? How are you feeling about it?
Oof, this one I think is going to be actually rather close. I don't know if it's going to be like a little bit more of a back and forth. I think it's going to be a little battle of the defenses. Another low scoring game for sure. I'm going to say I think we're going to pull through. It's important we actually really pull through more than ever. This is a division rival we're talking about. A stinger loss. Ugh, absolutely disgusting. We have to fix things, and I think that, you know, within this week or so, hopefully we pick up on things and we take advantage and we stay aggressive. Um, uh, Score-wise, I'm going to have to keep it low. I'm going to have to say something like, I'm going to go with, like, you know, 17-10. Seriously. I'm going 17-10. This
All
is
right,
going to
you
be
heard it here
super low.
first.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a dog fight. I think it's going to be 17-10 Bucs win, though. We're going to come through at the end. I think we're going to close out. It's going to be a little bit ugly in the beginning for both of us, but at the end, I think the defense is going to lock it down for sure.
Absolutely. That's the goal. That's the goal. The Bucs pulling out 17-10. All right, I like that score prediction. Santiago, how about you? You think the Bucs are going to run away with a little more? You think it's going to be even closer? How you feeling about it?
To be honest with you, gentlemen, I'm gonna go with 27-10, the Bucs
Wow.
winning it.
Okay. Hey, fair enough. I mean, I don't think the Bucs have put up 27 points in a hot minute, but I'd love to see it. You know, they're averaging 18 points a game, so I mean, that would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Bucs as well. I think they managed to eke it out, 21-17. But you know, every time I pick the Bucs, they end up losing. So this isn't a very good sign if you're listening. But regardless, you know, that's just, you know, I can't in good conscience pick Andy Dalton to win a football game at this point of his career. No offense to Andy Dalton, it's just it's not in the cards. It's not in the cards. They're definitely tough. But you know, we're kind of coming to a close here. Do y'all have any final thoughts? You know, where the Bucs are right now, it's definitely disappointing. But just kind of final thoughts to close out the episode. Musab, we'll start with you.
Final thoughts are that, you know, there are a lot of adjustments need to be made on both ends. There's a lot to think about, you know, for the whole Buccaneers organization and even for us fans. I just have to say, you know, we have to stay optimistic, of course. It's been an up and down roller coaster of a season for sure. A little bit more on the negative side, unfortunately, especially with this loss. But I have to say, it's us. We just have to keep on doing our best. I have to see what we're going to be discussing, next week, of course, because as of right now, things are not looking good. I feel like we're all really, really concerned right now. I feel like a lot of Buccaneer fans are concerned right now, as optimistic as I want to be, we have to think about, what's going to happen for the rest of this season and then, during the off season as well. Because if things are not going to be looking ideal, we can't be like, oh my God, with this kind of team right now, we're still going to make it to the Super Bowl. As of right now, unfortunately, we are not. This is I'm just gonna say, yeah, oddly embarrassing right now. We're not. We can't be all sunshine and rainbows. I say the word sunshine and rainbows in the past. It is not sunshine and rainbows right now, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm not saying stay down right now. I'm just saying, listen, we got to keep it real. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Hey, fair enough. I can always respect a truth teller, just speaking the truth. Santiago, how about you? What are your kind of closing thoughts, final thoughts on the Bucs, the Saints game, or how the Browns game went? Just closing thoughts.
Yes, my closing thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, Buck Nation, RBLR Nation out there. We are. The thing I love about sports is that you have to play all the way to the end. When the clock hits 0, that's when you know the game is over. When the clock is ticking, we still play. And you know what? I believe, honestly, yes, there's turbulent waters. Everybody, when Tom Brady was up in New England, he had turbulent waters up there. He had turbulent waters here, but guess what? He's a fighter. Fans, we are fighters as well. I know that, we still, pull through with our team, we're our Bucko Bruce, we're our Peter, and we're our RBLR gear, you know what I'm saying? But, my final thoughts, gentlemen, is that, we have to keep supporting our team in the good and the bad, you know what I'm saying? And I support, you know what I mean? And I still believe that as long as we can get to the playoffs, anything can happen.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the playoffs are definitely a different breed. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely reason for hope whenever you have Tom Brady at quarterback, but it is definitely looking rough. It's definitely looking like an uphill battle moving forward. The Bucs have not shown capability to win football games consistently, and they have some tough opponents coming up. The Bengals, 49ers, Cardinals are the three kind of big ones, and then the three division rivals, of course. So yeah, it's definitely going to be tough moving forward. But like Santiago said, got to always support the local team, and we want to thank y'all for supporting us, and thank you for listening to this episode. And if you wouldn't mind just hitting that like or subscribe button, wherever you're listening, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever it is. If you wouldn't mind hitting like and subscribe, that would be wonderful. But thank you so much again for listening. Hopefully we'll be returning next week with better news. Obviously, it's been a rough week for Bucs fans. But it's a Bucs life, and that's all there really is to say. But thank you again, RBLR Nation, for tuning in. And as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.